California. Late 1960s. A cryptic killer emerges, taunting police and media with coded messages, leaving a trail of terror across the state. And history was seeing a new serial killer emerging in this era. The name? The Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer case was primarily investigated by local law enforcement agencies, including the San Francisco Police Department and the Vallejo Police Department, with assistance from the FBI. Key figures in the investigation included Inspector Dave Toschi and Inspector Bill Armstrong of the San Francisco Police Department. Their relentless pursuit of the killer was later dramatized in the 2007 film Zodiac. In addition to official investigators, Robert Graysmith, a political cartoonist for the San Francisco Chronicle, became deeply involved in the case. His obsession with the Zodiac led him to write 2 books, Zodiac and Zodiac Unmasked, which provided detailed accounts of the murders and the investigation. Graysmith's work reignited public interest in the case and contributed to ongoing discussions about the killer's identity. The Zodiac Killer is notorious for sending a series of cryptic letters and ciphers to newspapers, challenging authorities and the public to decipher his messages. The first of his victims were David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen. On December 1968, in California, they were sitting in a parked car while the Zodiac Killer approached them and shot them using a pistol. They were shot and killed in their car while parked in a secluded area. This was the Zodiac's first confirmed attack. It appears they were randomly targeted while on a date. The second incident occurred on July 4, 1969 in California. Again, the choosing of his victims seemed to be the same. Michael Mageau and Darlene Ferrin were in a parked car when the Zodiac Killer approached them and shot at them with a 9mm Luger pistol. While Darlene sadly succumbed to her injuries, Michael had survived this incident to tell the story. However, because it was dark with hardly any lighting in the area, Michael couldn't see how the Zodiac Killer looked. This is what Michael had to say about how the incident unfolded. He came up to the car with a flashlight. I thought it was a cop. Then he just started shooting. He was short, heavy-set, maybe 5'8", about 200 pounds. He had a round face. Even though the first incident took place in December 1968, it wasn't until July 1969 that the first cipher was sent, called as the Z-408, which contained 408 characters, which was cracked shortly after its release. The decoded message revealed the killer's enjoyment in killing and his belief that his victims would serve him in the afterlife, but it did not disclose his identity. The third murders this time had happened near a lake where Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were on a picnic. They were both tied up and were repeatedly stabbed. While sadly Cecilia died 2 days later, Brian survived, and his testimony is one of the most revealing because the killer spoke to him directly and was wearing a distinctive costume, unlike in previous attacks. Based on Brian's interviews, the killer wore a black hood covering his entire head, similar to an executioner's mask. The hood had clip-on sunglasses over the eye holes. A white crossed circle, Zodiac symbol, was on the chest of his outfit, and he carried a long knife and a pre-cut length of clothesline to tie them up.
He told us he had killed before and would kill again. And then he started stabbing them repeatedly without any further warning.
The fourth and presumably the final murders by the Zodiac Killer occurred in October 1969 in San Francisco. Unlike the previous incidents, which involved young couples, this time the victim was a 29-year-old male, Paul Stein. He was shot in the head while driving his taxicab. And this was an unusual deviation from his earlier couple-oriented attacks. Zodiac mailed a piece of Stein's shirt to the press as proof. It was in November 1969 that the second cipher came out in, but this 340-character cipher remained unsolved for over 50 years. In December 2020, a team comprising David Orenchak, Sam Blake, and Jarl Van Eyck successfully decoded it. And it said, "I hope you're having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show. I'm not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner." This message reinforced the killer's lack of remorse and his belief in an afterlife where his victims would serve him. The final 2 ciphers were shorter, containing 13 and 32 characters respectively, have yet to be definitively solved. The Z32 cipher was accompanied by a map and claimed to reveal the location of a bomb, but its exact meaning remains elusive. The Zodiac Killer's identity remains unknown, but the case continues to captivate the public and investigators alike. Robert Graysmith's books have been instrumental in keeping the case in the public eye. Additionally, Michael Butterfield, a leading expert on the Zodiac case, has contributed to several documentaries and produced the podcast series Zodiac A to Z, further analyzing the case's complexities. In 2021, a group called the Casebreakers claimed that Gary Francis Post, a deceased house painter, was the Zodiac killer. They cited forensic evidence and cipher analysis to support their claim, but law enforcement agencies have not confirmed this identification. The Zodiac killer's reign of terror ended as mysteriously as it began. Despite extensive investigations, the killer's identity remains a mystery. The decoded ciphers provide chilling insights into his psyche, but the question of who he was continues to haunt investigators and true crime enthusiasts. And that, my friends, is one of the most intriguing cases in the history of serial killers. This is part 2 of the series called as Serial Killers Who Were Never Caught. If you have any thoughts and comments on this case, please do let us know. We would love to hear and discuss more on this. Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel to watch more such stories. Thank you for watching.